Mrs. Byrne.
Present.
Mrs. Cerrucci.
Here.
Mr. Lapsevich.
Here.
Mr. Nola.
Here.
Mr. O'Donnell.
Here.
Mr. Ritter.
Here.
Mr. Stubenbort. Mrs. Warning.
Here.
Mr. Williams.
Here. Do we have anybody in the audience that wishes to speak on agenda items?
Not on agenda.
Section B, list of bills and financial reports, Mr. Schott.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Section B, actually, we will have for the regular board meeting, which will specifically consist of Section B1, list of bills for the month of November 2017. Section B2, monthly financial statements for the month of October 2017. And Section B3, budget transfers for the month of November 2017.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Nothing tabled. We'll move to section D, personnel. Ms. Crump.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. We do have 3 items that we would like to vote on for tonight. The first, resolved that the Gateway Board of School Directors accepts and approves the personnel agenda items 1 through 2 as listed in Section D for the action agenda. One is for a resignation for Elizabeth Gigliotti effective January 31st. We congratulate Liz on her retirement after 27 years with the district. We also have 2 recommendations for hire for special education aides that due to need, we need these as soon as possible.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Nola, second by Mr. Stubenford. Questions or comments? Seeing none, can we have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Cerrucci.
Aye.
Mr. Lapsevich.
Aye.
Mr. Nola.
Aye.
Mr. O'Donnell.
Aye.
Mr. Ritter.
Aye.
Mr. Stubenbort.
Aye.
Mrs. Warning.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mrs. Byrne.
Aye.
Thank you. For the meeting of the 20th, we have 5 different items listed. We have resignations for a support aide. We have several leave of absences listed. All have supplied documentation. Under Section 3 for transfers, we have 3 per the collective bargaining agreement. For employment, we have some substitute and tutoring recommendations, and under 5, our list of volunteers.
Questions or comments on section B, personnel?
Question.
The resignation on the first one, the autistic support, was that one that we had just recently hired?
Yes, we did.
So in the case we got from Kelly Services,
This is for an individual who, due to scheduling commitments, cannot. So she is actually one of ours. She's not
she
a
didn't
Kelly
come
service.
through Kelly's,
No.
okay. All right.
Any other questions?
Does this just seem like a lot of leaves of absences at one time?
It does. A lot of those are for intermittent, so it's just as position statements have come in, it's just in case, per the collective bargaining agreements, they only have sick days that they can use for themselves. So in some instances, it may be to care for a family member. We do have several that do have medical listings done. And this time of year, you will see more because people are trying to tie it in with the winter break so they don't have to take off as much time.
Are you anticipating being able to fill substitutes for all these openings?
All the substitute teaching positions we already do have filled. The paraprofessional positions, we're still having a little bit difficulty with, but all the teaching positions have been filled.
Yeah, the lot are aides of some type, looks like to me.
Questions or comments? Seeing on section E, conferences and conventions.
I'm going to defer section to Dr. Shake.
Thank you, Dr. Short. For conferences and conventions, we do have several requests to be considered for the November 21st meeting. First up, we have the CSE conference request, approve up to 4 individuals to attend the 2018 Pennsylvania Title I Improving School Performance Conference that's presented by PDE. A quick note that Dr. Cleveland Stewart Elementary received the reward High Progress status for the 2016-17 school year. CSE School will also receive the 2017-18 Title I Distinguished School Award and will be honored at the 2018 Improving School Performance Conference, January 28th to the 31st. So excellent job there. We also have 2 individuals that are going to be attending the PASBO conference at the Hershey Lodge, and another individual that will be attending the PSU MAC Admins Conference in State College.
Questions or comments? Seeing none. Section F, administrative resolutions.
Dr. Rossi?
Resolved that the Gateway Board of School Directors approves and authorizes the following item as listed in Section F at the study session meeting on Wednesday, November 8th, 2017. The Phase 2 Comprehensive Plan. Approve the public display of the Gateway School District Phase 2 Comprehensive Plan. Essentially, that's a midpoint review.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Stubenport, second by Mr. Nola. Questions or comments? Seeing none, can we have a roll call, please, Bonnie?
Mr. Lapsevich.
Aye.
Mr. Nola.
Aye.
Mr. O'Donnell.
Aye.
Mr. Ritter.
Aye.
Mr. Stubenbort.
Aye.
Mrs. Warning.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mrs. Byrne.
Aye.
Mrs. Cerucci.
Aye.
Motion carries. Section F.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Item number 1, the policy revision for student wellness. Dr. Rossi, if you could take that.
Final approval of revised policy 246, student wellness, Exhibit A.
And item number 2, facility agreements. Dr. Shaky?
Several facility agreements, the Atlantic Coast Baseball within the sports complex, and also the Gateway Band Boosters requesting use of the sports complex for the DCI show.
Item number 3, student interns. Dr. Rossi?
Sure, we have several student interns for the fall 2017 and spring 2018 as listed. We have some from the University of Pittsburgh, Point Park, Carlo, and Duquesne in Indiana.
Thank you.
Item number 4. Paul?
Item number 4, administration be seeking approval of the required 3-year asbestos reinspection and management plan updates with AGX Inc. in the amount of $1,900 and a 2-hour asbestos awareness training with AGX Inc. in the amount of $650 for a grand total of $2,550 for these services as depicted in Exhibit B.
Questions, comments? Go ahead, Paul.
Item number 5.
You got
Mr.
one, George?
Lasevich?
Yeah, I got a question. Who's going to this schooling?
That would be me, and it's generally here on site, training here.
Okay, thank you.
Item number 5, we're seeking to approve the district's agreement and payment of $2,395 to AMCA Systems LLC to purchase an ACA Tax Track Software 2017 license and to assist the district with the required Affordable Care Act assignment of benefits status codes and safe harbor codes to all employees, and to e-file all required 1095-C forms with the Internal Revenue Service for 2017 calendar year as depicted in Exhibit C.
Questions, comments? Seeing none, moving on.
And the final item is to approve of the management discussion and analysis for 16-17 fiscal year as depicted in Exhibit D. And again, this is a annual required document that the district, specifically myself, is required to complete. It's actually, will be incorporated into the district's audited financial statements. Basically, there's required components that are included in this, but if you've reviewed the document, you see some of the page numbers, it actually corresponds with the other page numbers contained in the audit report, which we'll be bringing forward at the December meeting for approval. Hope to have be able to give everyone the audit report at that meeting prior to that. Our local auditors are right in the process right now of finishing the single audit, so getting very close to be able to issue that report, work on the notes to the financials. What we're required to do in order to have this completed and to have it filed with the SEC prior to December 31st. That's part of our bond post-disclosure requirements, so we meet that requirement. So I feel we should be on track to be able to meet that again as well for that. But again, when you read the document, it ties in specifically to the audit report. Again, it's called Governmental Accounting Standards Board. It's a requirement for that document. Now, I want to say this is probably the 15th or 16th year we've had to include that in our audit report. So stay tuned for the rest of that.
Thank you, Mr. Schott.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on Section F?
I'd like to say I'm
happy to hear that we're having some additional training offered regarding the two styles of asbestos that exist. One is the type that crumbles, under hand pressure. The other type is something that's embedded in a hard surface and that can be scraped or scratched away. So however asbestos can appear, we have to have someone who's trained to know how to look for that, to inspect it, and to take care of it. So this style of training is well worth it. So thank you for getting that training.
Section G, resolutions presented by board members.
Motion to table this item due to the fact that we're waiting for one other bid that hasn't come in.
Motion and a second, motion by Ms. Rucci, second by Mr. O'Donnell. Questions, comments?
Well, I'll ask a legal question since the table, I guess, would take precedence there. If it's going through CoStars, we don't need 3 bids, is that accurate? Because that's already gone through the...
Well, based on this dollar range, it requires the 3 quotes. And specifically, and I'll quote from the enterprise quotations in board policy number 610, unless exempt by law, at least 3 written or telephonic price quotations shall be requested by the board. All contracts for construction, reconstruction, repairs, maintenance, or work, or any school buildings or property having a total cost or value of more than the amounts determined by the Department of Labor and Industry. That rate currently...
Well, I understand that part, but I thought that CoStars, because we did this for the football field, we only got 1 quote, and they moved forward with it because CoStars basically is law, that they've gotten a plethora of different quotes. The only reason I'm asking, and this isn't my resolution, the only reason I'm asking is if this needs to be done prior to the winter, if legally we can do it, I would say let's vote on it.
Typically for an instance like that, such as the field, I'll use the most recent one. We also use CoStars I can think of for the truck. Those are situations when the amount was greater than $19,700. So in that situation, when we had that, we knew that there was quotes to be able to do that. It was over the amount. It enables us to make that purchase, because if you didn't make that purchase through a CoStar situation, it would be required to do a formal bid for that. In this situation, this price that came in, $11,800, is between $10,700 and $19,699. So it's right within the bid threshold, which does require 3 written quotes.
Is there some way that once Bob gets the 3rd bid, we can approve it or authorize it so that we can move ahead and get it done while the weather and the batching plants are open?
He was
I don't know how close you are.
hopeful to get that today, but we ran out of time, yeah.
Today, so it'll be a day or so before I actually get the actual quote, and that'll be the 3rd one.
It can be telephonic. Did I hear that correct? Lee?
Telephone quote.
Are we able to approve up to a dollar amount and then allow administration to pick the
That's
lowest
fine.
appropriate
Yes,
bid?
and then they would seek then your affirmance again at the next meeting.
So can
Well, then couldn't,
Send
then we have
motion.
to wait until the next meeting?
No.
No,
I-
we
No,
Change the motion.
as soon as we get the
Wait.
3rd quote, then we would recommend the lowest bidder, responsible bidder, and then make a telephone call
Oh,
to
okay.
the board for approval.
So are we going to rescind the table?
There's no table. You didn't table yet, right?
There's a motion to table.
We tabled it, yeah. So,
I can make a motion to rescind my table.
and I'll second it.
Motion and a second.
It's wrong. Did we vote on that?
We never
Vote on
voted
the
for
first
table.
Been withdrawn.
Okay.
All you have
Then-
to do is withdraw your motion
Okay.
in a second.
Then I'll make a motion that the board approve the lowest of 3 bids, correct me if I'm wrong here, once the 3rd bid is obtained.
Quote.
Quote, excuse me, not bid, quote, okay.
Who said that?
Paul. And then are we going to go around telephonically and affirm
I
it?
think what happens is you're going to award to the lowest responsible bid.
Up to
the lowest-
$12,000.
Up to
Up to $12,000,
And it's
okay.
quote. Lowest responsible
I second
quote.
that motion.
It's the lowest responsible quote, Paul. Paul, it's a quote. Okay. Bonnie, do you have
Seconded
that?
I second the motion.
Chad.
Can I say something? Mr. President, can I say something?
Motion and a second, questions, comments? Go ahead, Mr.
Oh, thank you.
Lapsovich.
I agree with all you say, but say a contractor's out there listening to this broadcast right now. Okay, he could say, well, I'll put a bid in for 10.5 just to get the contract. How can you avoid that?
We'll take it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the
We
lowest,
save money.
it's the lowest quote.
We have two right now, two quotes.
No, you know what I mean?
You have that, Bonnie?
We didn't reveal what the other two bids
No.
Oh, that's right.
Right.
Yeah, it just says not to exceed.
Do we have a roll call, Bonnie, when you're ready?
Okay, ready.
It says not to exceed that.
Says not to exceed.
Might be 9,000.
Mr. Nola.
Aye.
Mr. O'Donnell.
Aye.
Mr. Ritter.
Aye.
Mr. Stubenboard.
Aye.
Mrs. Warning.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mrs. Byrne.
Aye.
Mrs. Cerrucci.
Aye.
Mr. Lapsevich.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay. Good job.
Do we have any resolutions presented by board members this evening? None. Comments from residents on non-agenda items. And we have a Justin and Jenny Peacock.
My wife couldn't make it today.
Okay.
We have 4 children at home, so we thought it best for her to stay there, and I rushed over here after work. I handed everyone, well, I only had 11 copies. One I kept for myself, so a few people that have a copy of the documentation I passed out. It starts off with green highlighting at the bottom. And I pulled this from the Pennsylvania Code. It's just a definition of PA Code of what the word hazardous means. It's an unsafe condition caused by potential incompatibility between vehicles and school students while the students are walking between their home and their school or school bus stop. I'm here with respect to the bus stop at the corner of Stroshan Road and Cedar Ridge Drive. I've added pictures in there that I'll go through shortly. At this road, it's deemed to me very dangerous, and everybody who is at this bus stop, when I'm there, they're all elementary students, and their parents who are there with other little small children, some who are walking, some people have strollers, some don't, in addition to on the right side of the actual road that runs perpendicular to Stroshan Road, which is Cedar. There's vehicles parked on the side in which do not allow incoming and ongoing traffic both ways, so it's very cluttered in the morning. There's no crossing guard there. There's no stop sign there. There's a lot of issues with respect to that. So let me just go ahead. I'm just going to go through a couple items here. I don't want to take too much of everybody's time here. On page 2, I pulled this. I got this from the STA, Transportation Company, today. This is a booklet that they give all their bus drivers with respect to their rules and safety with respect to picking up kids and dropping them off. There's a picture there. I just want everybody to look at figure C1, which talks about a danger zone. And as you can see, in front of the vehicle and on the side of the vehicle, there's a danger zone. And on the next page, it talks about on number 2, there's item number 2, when it says, when loading at a bus stop, follow these procedures. First of all, I'm going to direct everybody's attention to the first sentence in number 1. It says, load students only at designated bus stops approved by the school board. That's the reason why I'm here today. And number 2, it says, students should wait at a specific designated place. This place should be at least 10 feet from the edge of the highway at approved bus stop. That's the approved bus stop that we have. However, we are not allowed at the 10 feet. If you can move to the next page in which there's a picture of the road at Stroshan and Cedar Ridge. The bus comes up from from Stroshan Road going towards William Penn Highway, and it pulls over here at the white line. Kids get on right there at that bus stop. However, children are standing right at that guardrail in addition to all the way along the line. There's not much space there for these children, and there's probably about, I never counted, but I would probably say between 15 and 20. In addition to vehicles parked.
Are the vehicles parked, like people who bring their kids to the bus?
Yes.
The bus too?
Yes.
And they're like over here in this area?
No. So if you look at let me see, 1, 2, 3 on the 4th page, you'll see like a red car and a silver car. That's the view I want to show you guys. Vehicles are parked on the right side, to the right of the yellow line on the fourth page.
Justin,
Okay, I see
I'm
it.
sorry, what's your last name?
Peacock like the bird.
Okay, Mr. Peacock, are you going to ask the board to change the location of the pickup?
Yes.
Okay, Bonnie, have you been talked to, has there been some conversation
There
about
has been conversation. We've reviewed this in years past and the current school year as well. The bus company has determined that if you pull onto Cedar Ridge Drive and go into the apartment complex, the municipality only plows back to the swimming pool area, but not in the areas along the front of the buildings, because that's private property, and we can't do a three-point turn and safely maneuver a vehicle, so.
Is there
we have-
some resolution to this that you can affect with Mr.
The parents should not be allowed to
Peacock?
park on the entrance to the complex on that road. Parents should not be able to park on those areas.
The reason I'm interrupting is just, and I certainly want to hear the rest, but she's the director of transportation, Bonnie, and I'm just thinking if she can work it out, then go ahead and work it out to your satisfaction. But you're saying it can't be done?
We don't, the bus company does not feel it's safe for them to take their vehicles into the complex and turn the vehicles around with the amount of cars parked in there. It's a private property in most of the areas, except for the one stretch of roadway going in on the immediate area. So you can't turn a 72-passenger bus around in there safely.
What about at that the first parking lot?
There's cars, there
It's
are.
a tight,
Well,
I know you're from the fire department, it's tight.
I don't mean to interrupt anybody, but I don't want my point to go unlistened to.
Yeah,
If you look at the picture on the last page, I have it drawn out on Google Earth that there's an alternate route that is possible for the bus to turn around. It will not be a three-point turn. If you look at the last page, there's actually three different routes, two different routes that I've made up. So if you follow the green line coming all the way around into the front of Cedar Ridge, at Ridgeview Apartments, in which the regional manager is sitting here now, that will allow approval for the transportation to actually drive onto the property and come around. So she can actually provide approval. The bus is able to drive around the actual complex and pick up the children at one of the designated stops that I've added the pictures for. In addition, there's also, if you look on the second to the last page, I created another map with a green line that going around the parking lot and pulling in under the Cedar Ridge, what do you call that? The whatever she just said. So.
It's like a hood. It's where the fire trucks drive on North Side.
Our bus will fit under there?
I mean,
That
a
is
fire
private
truck
property.
does, so I haven't measured it, so I can't say for sure. But I know a fire truck goes under the porch, and I
It's
can't
pri-
imagine a bus is larger than a
Private
fire
Private.
truck.
It is private property.
Are you
can
here to
see where
say,
the
though,
swimming
is
pool-
you're going to give permission?
Absolutely, I can get that in writing, I can do whatever is needed to
Would
make
that
that, facilitate
satisfy?
that.
I don't believe the bus company
Wait a minute.
would prefer to do that maneuver in there, and they have been in situations where they have, cars are parked in unusual places when they try to go in there. The municipality doesn't plow beyond the swimming pool, so no, that area is not plowed by our municipality. We can't guarantee that it would be clean and open for a vehicle to go through, so they
I see.
requested that we deny that.
Now, I have the regional manager here for a certain purpose.
Yeah.
They do take very good care of their parking lots. They plow it. They've actually had it refinished within the past year. It's actually a better road than the roads that I see on Stroshen Road in addition to Cedar Ridge. So
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
So I would just like it's a very well-mannered piece of property, and I wouldn't have moved there if it wasn't. So there's enough room, enough space for the bus to maneuver around the parking lot, pick up the children, or maneuver around the whole building and pick up the children at one of the two proposed bus loading zones that I proposed here today. It's very unsafe for my children. It's very unsafe for all the children. People's views are skewed by all the trees that are there. There's no stop sign. People can come down the hill and make a left-hand turn very quickly. If there's ice, they can just fishtail right into all the children on that stop. It is not safe at all.
Mr. Peacock, if there was no cars parked there on the entrance into Cedar, would that alleviate the majority of the concerns?
No, not really. I would say no, because just because there's no cars, doesn't mean that the kids are not going to be in harm's way with the vehicles coming up Stroshen Road, in addition to the vehicles turning off of Stroshen Road onto Cedar Ridge Drive. That to me is my biggest concern.
Bonnie, do these kids pick up any other stops, or does this fill up a bus?
There's several other stops. just like on Stone Cliff, you pull up on Monroeville Boulevard and stop in front of Stone Cliff apartment buildings, those kids load right on there. We don't
It's
go
like
into
a
that.
smaller bus vehicle and option that would be able to move.
We actually have 4 runs. We have an elementary, 2 middle schools, and a high school. That would require probably an additional 4 buses to do that, small buses.
Here, my advice, and we've seen this a lot where people come up and we've seen changes made, be it by previous superintendents, board members, and it makes it difficult on the transportation department. I know that a lot of money has been cut in the most recent years, like 2-3 years. A significant amount of money has been saved due to really cutting down on kind of these
And if you turn
mandated stops.
into apartment complexes, in every complex in our community, you slow our runs down, you add overtime to the routes. The costs just keep going up and up and up.
Board, this is one stop. This is one stop, and it's actually probably like a 2-minute drive around the property.
And I agree with you, Mr. Peacock, that the problem is when this one stop happens, the people are gonna come up on Gateway Drive and they're gonna say, well, our street's busy too. And then on James Street, they're gonna say, well, our street's busy, we should move it up onto Main Street. And then.
It does have a domino effect, it really does.
What I would recommend, if it's a fair compromise, is if it would help for cars not to be parked there, we could approach the municipality, ask if they can place a no parking sign and enforce that.
I was gonna say, I'm sorry, there are no parking signs there, and when I've called the police in the past, because this is not a new issue, so I'm sorry, hi, I'm Karen. I've managed the building for going on 5 years now, Mr. Peacock moved in with the last year, I've dealt with this now for 5 years, and telling tenants not to park there doesn't work because we have new move-ins and move-outs every month. So you'd have to put out an email blast to 165 of just my tenants, and I don't control the other apartment complex either, so it's very hard for us to police it. When we call the police told us to call the director of transportation. So I'm now being, they've come and they've ticketed, and it helps for a day. The police will come, they'll ticket those cars, or they'll give warnings out, and it does help very, very, very short term. So I do believe that if it was policed better, it would help. I agree with you that it probably doesn't solve the issue, but I do believe that it would help if cars weren't there, because you are significantly decreasing the number of vehicles that could hit a child. My concern is not a vehicle, my concern is a human being that is standing there potentially getting hit. So if you do remove those cars, I do believe that helps. I don't believe it solves it, but I do believe that that's a great first step.
What if there's some type of like flashing light there or something to slow people down?
School bus pickup sign.
I think that's the municipalities.
I know, we'd have to talk to them.
You'd have to do a PennDOT study and stuff, and also it's kind of a bad area because if you're coming out Giant Eagle and you make a left down Stroshine, it's right on a bend.
Yeah, it's like a double whammy because it is like a hill and a curve.
Yes.
So where the cars are parking is actually a curved road as well. So you have like this double blind spot effect that he's referring to, this danger zone. It is seriously, it's remarkable that no one has gotten hurt. FedEx trucks are pulling in there in the morning. They're coming to me delivering packages saying, I almost hit a kid on ice, oh my gosh. So, it's not even just like a bus not the bus driver not being safe, obviously. It's these other cars that, again, like Giant Eagle just making that loop and.
So you don't own the property where the bus stop actually is?
No one owns that property, no, I do not. So I don't own or manage that apartment complex.
What's the board's thoughts of, Val, you're in charge of intergovernmental, correct? Approaching council, asking if they could put a speed bump right there at the beginning, because that'll stop cars from flying in there. Similar to what they did before Edgemead, and then enforce the no parking there. 'Cause I do agree, I've pulled very large trucks into there before, and when there's a car there, it's a huge pain in the butt.
Right.
And cars are flying in and out of there.
Yes.
Well, what about whoever owns the property too, like doing a different type of landscaping or putting in more of an area
Well, the
like in the grass where
municipality
kids can
maintains the
stand?
road. If they put a speed bump there, that'll prohibit cars from flying in, and unless you want to mess up your suspension, I guess.
Can the children be asked to step back 15 or 20 feet from Stroshine, and then when the bus arrives, the children could walk down to it?
We personally as management have really tried to enforce that. We've personally sent emails out in years past, please do not park here, please park in the gardens parking lot. The problem is that you have so many, it's very transient apartments, right? So every single month there would be a new child potentially there or not there. So to create a sort of new rule that isn't regulated in any way with a sign or something like that just becomes virtually impossible.
How about a volunteer parent to be a crossing guard or something?
I mean, all that's, I'm gonna be honest, everybody, it all sounds well and dandy, but I think the responsibility of keeping these kids safe is not only on the parents, and it seems like to me in the rules it states that you guys have the power to make something happen, or at least on a short-term basis to see if something will remedy our current issue. I'm not hearing a lot of solutions here.
I think we have time to discuss it. Go ahead,
Can I
I'm sorry.
interrupt? Tomorrow there's a council meeting at 7 o'clock at the municipal building. If you could go and speak on this, then they are aware of what's happening, and then we can get together as a municipality and the board and see what we can do. But if you give your view of what you're looking at, so you're able to explain it better, as far as, where the kids are standing and everything like that, I think that would be the first route to go.
I just have a question. Is this, somebody said that the municipality plows this one that I'm looking at right here. They plow that road. So is that a municipal road, I guess?
Up to the swimming pool for about
Right,
half
so
mile.
that's a municipal road. So they kind of control this whole area here, so they might be able to do something to help us.
I'm just saying, since it's municipal is what we're looking at, I think that's going to be your first route.
But what I can understand, Ms. Warning, is that we have approval from the property manager that the buses can actually turn into that property. You have a 2-minute time lag that it's gonna take to pull that bus in, and you guys have the power to make the bus turn into our property, pick up the children, and turn around, and pick up the children and take them to school. I don't have that power, the municipality doesn't have that power. They can make it safe, and I understand that.
Yes.
That makes all fine and dandy, but right now I'm at the school board meeting, and I'm asking the board to help me and help the children on that, at this stop. It's not gonna get better, it's only a matter of time before it ends up on the news, and one of these kids get
And I
injured.
fully respect what you're saying and understand that we subcontract our buses out. It's an outside business organization, Student Transportation of America. And we defer to them based on their expertise and recommendations of, where to turn and what not to do. And that's where Mrs. Isha comes into play. Now, I can guarantee you this, we will examine not only the documents you provided here, but along with the other safety documents as well, and get back in touch with you.
Ms. Warning.
Just add 2 cents to this. I like what Chad said about he's the driver of a large vehicle, an emergency vehicle. I was a school bus driver for a couple seasons, and I would certainly not want to pull into that section of the building and go around it, because there very well could be people moving in or moving out, and they park the vehicle in the street. There very well could be FedEx trucks there. There could be any number of things that would cause,
Exactly right, and we
that would cause a
subcontract
school bus to come in there and try to figure out a different way to get around. If he spots a blockage, try to take a different route around, and that makes it really tough to have an unpredictable route for a school bus driver, and that puts more tension on the school bus driver, which reduces the safety. Some kids get more antsy, there's a lot going on in the school bus driver's mind. So I would defer to put this impossible situation over to Bonnie and let her come up with the best approach that we can. I like Chad's and Neil's idea and Val's idea of taking it over to the municipality. If there's some other way that we can approach this, we can, but let's just keep working on it until we come up with a solution that works.
Bonnie,
Okay? Go ahead.
Bonnie, have you been down physically to the site?
The safety people at the STA Bus Company have been there.
Have you been there, though?
I have not, no.
Okay. I'm just wondering out loud, could we make some temporary change, as this is being suggested, while Bill and you and others talk to the municipality or examine it and see if there's a better alternative?
Be there.
The temporary change that he suggested? No.
I could physically be there to observe. tomorrow.
One thing I can say, STA is contradicting itself as well. In their safety manual, it states that the area should be 10 feet away from the bus when it pulls up. The kids do not have 10 feet.
Well, I
They
guess
don't have it.
the point that I hear what you're saying. Why are you saying no, Scotty? Am I missing something?
I don't think it's, I would caution, yeah, I would caution everyone. So I asked
Okay.
Bonnie, she said there's about 15 stops on average. If all 15 come and say, well, we could improve this stop, we could do this, that's an additional 30 to 45 minutes added on to each bus route. We pay Bonnie to look at these routes, and how long have you been?
About 9 years.
About 9 years looking at the routes and going through, and trust me, she gets calls all the time, she complaints all the time, and suggestions, and, we've added bus stops, we've taken bus stops away. I just think we should trust the people that we employ. I would caution against making a temporary change, because I can guarantee all we're going to do is make it extremely difficult on Bonnie tomorrow, and her phone will ring off the hook and say, well, we saw last night you guys did this to that stop. On our stop, I'd like you to potentially look into this and do that. That's the only-
Okay,
I just feel like my issue is being said no due to the ripple effect that it will have, and in reality, I just care about my own children. So excuse me for being passionate about keeping my children
We're not
safe.
saying no, Mr. Peacock.
No.
We're saying we can't give you an answer tonight. It's complex, and we need to talk to the municipality, we need to talk to SBA, we need to talk to our transportation director. It's not a no.
I just don't want to make any changes until we figure out the right change. The reason being, once you get into that parking lot, all kinds of things happen. Kids come running out between cars,
It is.
and
Yeah.
there's all kinds of stuff that
Cars backing up without
maybe that we.
Cars parked there.
I don't want to change it until somebody tells us that's the best thing to do. Let's do it, and then we'll do it.
Well, let me ask.
What time is that meeting tomorrow? 'Cause-
7 o'clock
And where is it?
at the municipal building.
Okay,
2,700, whatever.
sure, yeah.
What I will do tomorrow is I will get in touch with the municipality, and I'll talk to them regarding this. I'll go personally talk with them about it.
Thank you.
So when you go there tomorrow, they're aware of what's going on. So they'll
Appreciate it.
have, the paperwork and that there.
Could I ask this, would this be reasonable? I appreciate the dialogue on this. Could we give Mr. Peacock a time frame that we would get back with him one way or the other? So we'll do what Mary Beth said, we'll talk to all the appropriate people, and we'll get back with him. Would
I
that
think
be
at our next board meeting, we should, because that would be,
2 weeks?
yeah, that'd be two
Mr.
council
Peacock,
meetings.
would you be
between-
okay with that?
Sure. So in 2 weeks from now, come back.
2
here.
weeks from now, Dr. Short will,
Yes. And
we'll have a.
I will physically be there to observe.
Thank you very much. We really do appreciate that. I want to make it clear, any positive change is positive change.
Sure.
So if we can't move the bus stop, that's
Well-
our preferred. But if that can't happen, and I understand that there probably is no perfect solution. As long as we're keeping kids' safety at paramount, which I know is all of our goals.
Biggest issue.
Then I think we're all on the same page and fighting for the same
Okay.
thing. So I really do appreciate the dialogue, and I appreciate everyone's
I
time.
think it'll help us get in front of the council
Sure.
tomorrow.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Like
Dr.
I said, on Center Road, they put in speed bumps in that main.
I did. So to be clear, I
Center
talked
Road,
to
they
the
had similar
president of
circumstances,
Monroeville,
and they put a
here's
speed
the
bump in
problem.
between.
Won't hold it against you.
I'm
We're
sorry.
a color and a fruit.
Yes, we will.
But I have managed this building for 5 years, and I also represent ownership.
Thank you, everybody. I
Thank you
appreciate
very much.
everybody's time. And
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Peacock, thank you for bringing this in front of us. Number one concern to me with the safety, and thank you for your homework, and I wish to see you tomorrow night at the council meeting.
I'll be there, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other residents wish to comment on non-agenda items? Richard? All right. Let's get the
Me?
Let's start with Mr. Short.
Thank you, Mr. Williams.
Dr. Short, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Doctor.
Jeez. On Monday, I had an opportunity to hold the second superintendent roundtable conversation, and we had an outstanding host, Evergreen Elementary, and I do thank the board members who attended as well, because it's always important that they hear the messages and the information that's being provided by the administration out to our constituents. We provided individuals in attendance there an overview of the school performance profile The results have been released by PDE, and some significant increases in scores have been noted, simply not by the district and our administrative team, but through the AIU3 intermediate unit. And, I'd like to call out and recognize University Park for an increase, the biggest increase from one year to the next in overall score from what was a 65 to almost an 86. So a 20-point increase in 1 year. And that was noted and it was recognized. Dr. Rossi and Dr. Chakey happened to be at the IU, and we also were very fortunate to have the number 2 most improved elementary school from 1 year to the next, and that was Ramsey Elementary. As far as our middle schools, it's important to recognize Mosside Middle School making a 10-point jump in 1 year, the 5th largest in Allegheny County. Also, in addition, Gateway Middle School, it needs to be noted, outperformed middle schools from North Allegheny and Mount Lebanon. So there are some wonderful, wonderful things going on educationally within the school district. Last, Gateway High School had cracked the top 10 in Allegheny County last year. They improved from 1 year to the next from 10th to 7th in Allegheny County. So the students, the parents, our staff should be congratulated on those results. And we are simply not a school district that just looks at test results, because we have so many wonderful things going on that we get emails about from different clubs and activities, and our marching band. And I'd be remiss if I did not congratulate Mr. Helchi on the birth of his child, and also our football team for advancing to the semifinals this Friday night. So I'm so proud of everything going on in this district, and I think everyone should be proud. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Short. Dr. Chakey. Mr. Rossi. Mr. Schott.
Nothing further, thank you.
Ms. Crum.
Nothing at this time.
Mr. Ritter.
Okay, well, I think we ought to recommend, the board ought to recommend that the parents of all those kids get increased allowances starting today. The U.S. Army Field Band and the Soldiers Chorus came Wednesday, November 1st at 7 p.m. to the Robert A. Reed Performing Arts Center, and this tall, handsome gentleman stepped forward with a deep bass voice, and he welcomed everyone. Boy, was it fun! It was a wonderful, wonderful event, and we've got a little snippet out there on the website. I think we also have a hyperlink to the entire performance, so that if folks want to look at that, you can go out there to the U.S. Army Field Band website and watch the performance again and again. So thanks to those guys for coming out. Number 2, some improvements were made throughout the district over the summer. We were going to put a video up on the website so that folks could see some of those improvements. How's that effort coming along? It is up there?
Yes.
I went up there a day or two ago. Then the election came, and I got distracted. So it's up there now?
Yes, it is. Yes.
So we're announcing that if you'd like to see those improvements, go head out there. It's
Yes.
narrated by our
Aerial
very own
footage
live and
with,
in person, Steve
O'Donnell's,
O'Donnell.
voice overlay.
Excellent.
I didn't know that.
Wow. This is very deep.
Yeah, great.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Maybe a round of applause.
Music.
And congratulations to the football team. They made the first round of playoffs and the second round of playoffs. I guess, Val, in your announcement, you'll tell us where the next game is going to be played?
I'll tell you now before I forget, is that okay?
Sure.
Norwin
Okay,
against McKeesport, 7:30.
very good. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Ms. Farr.
I would like to say congratulations to Dr. Short. Just earned your doctorate recently.
Thank you.
Well done. And that's all.
Thank you. Mr. O'Donnell.
Yeah, I want to add my congratulations to Bill as well. It's a slog. It's a hard road to travel, and so congratulations on your PhD. That's super. Also want to congratulate the teachers at UP Ramsey, Mosside Middle, and Gateway High School for having done such a tremendous job in working with the kids to improve the test scores. That's extremely important. noting that Gateway High School is number 7 ranked according to SPP scores in Allegheny County is just phenomenal. And for those who listen, that's a number 7 ranking, even though we have a substantially high free and reduced lunch rate in an extremely diverse community. And so it's clear proof that all children can learn, and our children are doing particularly well. And the last piece I want to comment on, because we're coming to the close of a year, and in a couple of weeks, a couple of board members are going to be leaving. This board has been, I think, diligent in attending to issues that affect the quality of education in our community. And I would point to Dr. Chakey and Dr. Rossi as decisions that this board made to support the education of our children at both the elementary and the high school level. That's important because superintendents are oftentimes are frequently taken away by non-educational issues. So that decision, coupled with aligning the curriculum, coupled with the GAP committee's work, coupled with hiring Philip Woods to work on this, I think makes clear that this board is committed to education, committed to quality education, and the proof is in the pudding, and the pudding's been put out tonight, and it'll continue to be put out, I believe, over the next number of years. I also want to thank Bob Brown and his crew for all the work they've been doing. We are now beginning the plumbing work. That's the last of several pieces that George and Valerie and I have been working on in terms of the Building and Grounds Committee. And very soon, we expect to be starting to install the LED lighting. That's 7,300 or so lights throughout the district. Some have already begun to be, we've already started to install some using our own people. Now, when those 2 projects have been completed, and we expect that they'll be completed reasonably quickly, then I think that for the most part wraps up the $3.819 million initiative that Valerie and George and I were charged with by this board. So I appreciate it, and if we can just, I know, stay on top of the merit folks, and if they're not ready to come in, you'll get somebody else. So nicely done, and I appreciate all the support I get from Bob. That's it. Thank you.
Just to piggyback on Mr. O'Donnell's comments, I would be remiss without, first off, thanking these 2 gentlemen who stepped in almost a year ago to this point, and the significant differences that we were able to see from one year to the next in our elementary and middle schools has been incredible. And understanding the impact of change and how difficult it is to move the dynamics of a structured set of circumstances that educators and education is faced with, to change the paradigm is so difficult. And once those scores became public, I can't explain to our constituency and this board how many phone calls we have received from school districts inquiring about what we're doing, how we're doing it, and the scores that we're achieving. And it says a lot about this team and this commitment of this board to education that they made several years ago with an investment of nearly $1 million in upgrading our curriculum. So thank you.
Sarucci?
I just second the congratulations. I don't want to take a lot of time, but very proud of the district, UP Ramsey, Moss-Side Middle, Gateway Middle School, and the high school, and to the administration and the teachers and the parents and the students. And let's keep moving in the right direction. It's just up from here. So,
Thank you.
kudos. I'm done.
Mr. Stubenport?
All right. Again, congratulations, Bill. To piggyback off of what Steve said as well, we are 7th in the county, which is pretty impressive. I think another number that stood out is we are 12th out of 192 schools in Western PA. So that's the top 6%. So while at the polls, we heard a lot of people, I'm sure a lot of people that were working the polls, complaining or saying, oh, the school's gone downhill. Top 6% in Western PA. That's one hell of an achievement. So I want to congratulate not just administration here, but the teachers, the parents, the students. That's one hell of an effort. So congratulations to everyone there. And again, we don't have anyone from the press here, so that's a little disappointing, but top 6%. So if anyone's going to watch this meeting tomorrow, make sure you report on that. That's huge. I want to say congratulations to Rick, Brian, Scott, and Jesse Kalkstein as well for their victories yesterday. Yep, I mentioned Scott, yep. So congratulations to them. I know most of you pretty well. I'm sure you guys will do great on the board. It's kind of like drinking out of a fire hydrant at first, but you'll be all right. I also want to say thank you to everyone. Obviously, most people know I ran for mayor. I did not win, so I want to say thank you to everyone who came out and supported me. Thank you to all of my poll workers out in the rain, the sleet, the hail, the snow, the great weather we had yesterday. I want to congratulate Nick Griesok on his victory. So he will be serving as our next mayor here in Monroeville. And we obviously have our differences, but I think he obviously wants what is best for Monroeville as well. So I'll support him in any way possible. Also, going along with the political theme here, I want to thank and congratulate Linda Gatos and Tom Wilson. They had contested council races as well, so congratulations to them. And thank you to George's wife, Nancy Lapsevich, and Tim Skoog for running for council and giving people in Monroeville a choice. That's something we haven't seen very often in this municipality. So good job to everyone involved there. And with that, again, if anyone's watching from the news, top 6%, you should probably report on that. It's pretty big news. And I'll end with that.
Thank you, Chad. Mr. Nola.
Nothing tonight, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Lapsevich.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for the kind words, Chad. And also, Steve, a lot of stuff you were saying about our administration and our doctor, they mean a lot to me because we give them what they need, and it doesn't mean they're going to follow up, but they're doing one hell of a job. And I appreciate it. And go Gators on Friday. Thank you.
Thank you, George.
Yes, congratulations to Dr. Short again. I know he doesn't like a lot of
I'm a humble
excitement.
person.
Yes, he's a fanfare, yes, but it's very deserving of him, so congratulations. Also, congratulations to all the schools with their teachers, with their students, with everything that they've done. I love to see Gateway in the news as being positive, which everything has been positive. If you haven't been by the sports complex, there's 2 new things up on the windows, the Whippeal and the PIAA emblems. Some nice artwork has been done there. And also to our football team, good luck on Friday, and go Gators. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Dice.
I just want to say to Bill, congratulations. I know what it means to go through that process and get to the point where you receive finally the doctorate degree that you so warmly deserve. Just again, congratulations. Good work.
Thank you.
And again, I'll end it to be redundant. Congratulations, Bill, being a doctor. Thanks to our team, staff, kids, parents here at Gateway, our new players down there, Dr. Chakey, Dr. Rossi, and good luck to the Gators Friday night. And with that, I'll look for a motion.
1 second. Bonnie, would you go out, please, and get the cake for Bill? You didn't get? You were supposed to bring the congratulations, Dr. Shortcake. Well, I'm sorry, Scotty. Go ahead.
Motion adjourned. Is there a second?
I got a mint for
All in
Scotty.
favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
On the spot.
We're adjourned.
Bonnie,
got the
you
minutes.
were like shocked.